Oh, it
Yay!
flashed.
It did. I'm getting back into podcasting now. Another episode of High Resolution Life. Oh, whoa, and it made it high resolution. Whoa! It's like it made you can see my face in full, like it's not a cold sore, guys. I don't have herpes. It's
We can see it in 4K.
I had a cold, and I have this bad habit of when I blow my nose just like rubbing my face raw, like the extra layers falling off. So that's a problem. Um, I got lucky in this cold season, but we're back with Jeff. If those of you who are new, I'm so sorry ahead of time for wasting your time listening to me. Jeff will be useful, but
That's what they all say. I was going to say, you said you got lucky during cold season. I did not get lucky during
you
cold season.
I don't mean like lucky. I mean like I got lucky in that all I got was a cold. I didn't get the flu. I didn't get that stomach flu. I got just a cold. So that's why my face is looking a little bit rough. But like I was blowing my nose and I got the congestion and it went to my chest a little bit this morning. Like I woke up we both have asthma, folks. So I woke up this morning and I was like, how bad is it going to be? And I just had to hack up a couple of things and I was good to go. But what happened with you this cold season?
I don't know what I got, but then I ended up sick for like a month.
You did. I kept checking in on you. Like, are you dead?
And then of course, then like you can only like take off so much before you just like have to start like powering through it, because then you're like, oh, people aren't gonna like it if I take off a third week in a row. Oh my gosh, we got matching inhalers. I left mine in my bag. I left my albuterol at home. That's probably not good, but
Yeah, no, that's not the vibe this time of year. Um, no, but yeah. So Jeff is if you guys have been listening to the podcast because you have nothing better to do with your life, Jeff has been on a couple of times because we both have really great conversations about choir directing and music and different stuff. Because Libras are always really fun to talk to. Great conversationalists. A little crazy, if nothing else, but good for conversation.
so I do have an asthma question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a very esoteric question,
Yes.
but did you ever have to take the nebulizer treatments as a kid?
No, I did not do that.
Oh man, for anyone who had to take the nebulizer treatments, that was actually my entrance way for the piano, because that was like my practice time.
Really?
That's what my parents, my mother made me do, was it's like, because you have to stop what you're doing for like 10-15 minutes to take that treatment, and it's just a mask you got to breathe in, and basically it's like, okay, well, you're not going to be doing anything anyway. They set it up by the piano, and when I was taking a nebulizer treatment, which sometimes when it was bad enough you do 3 or 4 times a day, and I was always expected to practice.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that the asthma thing would have a tie-in.
So it's really funny. So when I was sick this time, there was a couple days I did have to take a nebulizer treatment, and it's like the first time in like decades I've taken one. But it was set up right by like my digital piano at home, and I just got the nostalgic urge to like just practice like right there.
Ah!
like I'm feeling like I'm feeling terrible. I'm not one to even touch a piano, but I started taking that breathing treatment like Pavlov's dog. I'm just
I was just
like
about to say.
I'm just like, maybe I should be practicing right now. That makes sense.
Oh, that's hilarious. That is so funny. Oh gosh. Well, it all comes full circle now. But I've gotten back into choir directing and Jeff has been choir directing. So we're gonna call this episode Confessions of a Choir Director. There was one pretty funny conversation I was having with you about it, and hopefully we can recreate that magic. But getting back into choir directing has been fun, especially after I've been doing stand-up comedy and like I took myself way too seriously as a choir director before and and there's different types of choir directing where you have to approach it differently. Um, so what is your background in choir directing, Jeff, and how did you get there? And were you
Okay,
also a choir
so
member yourself? Go for it.
okay, so that's where I like to say, yeah, I'm a choir director. like
Yeah.
I mean, I've had experience with choirs, like obviously ever since I was like a little kid throughout all school, all the way through like my first 2 years of college.
Hmm.
I'd been in choirs, you know. And then I realized, oh hey, jazz combo counts for ensemble credit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna switch. I don't want to sing anymore.
Ah!
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd always been involved in that way. And then for the place I'm at now, Resurrection Catholic Church, I was their accompanist for their choir.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been doing that for about 2 years. And then the choir director basically got another job at a different church. And they were like, oh, yeah, Jeffrey could do it. And, there's me. I'm like, yes, I can. But then
Mm-hmm.
deep down, there's that inner voice. It's like, what the heck are you even thinking about? What are you doing? um, and so I jumped in and I'm like, okay, now, boom, now I'm the choir director. And it has been an
Uh,
exercise in like learning as you go.
yeah.
Cause like, I haven't even really been actively singing. Like I've tried to.
We were doing singing lessons and you bailed on me.
I did. Like
I didn't even remember until you said that, so I really
yeah,
don't.
yeah. Like so like I hadn't even really been doing any of that. So then all of a sudden I'm jumping back in and I'm like having to remember everything ever that I've been in with choirs. And then I'm like, but now I got to tell people this. But I don't really like, do I have any authority to actually stand on? Like, I can't.
No, we kind of create authority, or at least maybe, I don't know. Like, keep going, like your journey and whatnot. I have thoughts on
Um,
that.
yeah, no. And so that's kind of what I've been doing, well, for about 2 years now. Now we're getting into Easter season and the never ending thing of just like always having to go. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, that's the short version of it.
Yeah, my journey with choirs started whenever I would be singing in choirs when I was younger, junior high, high school, college. One of the really cool experiences of my life was singing with my choir from Penn State Altoona. Shout out to Dr. Bonnie Cutsforth Huber. We sang in Carnegie Hall, the
Ooh,
Mozart Requiem. I think we talked about that. I think you probably
I think
remember the
it's time.
conversation. Oh yeah, remember
Yeah,
when I was
yeah.
fangirling and I was like, "We're gonna sing the Mozart Requiem at Carnegie Hall." That was fun. But I think choir directing. Anyway, let me finish that thought. So yeah, and then we also sang in Lincoln Center, and we sang the Duraflay Requiem, and choir's just kind of always been something I've been in and been called upon to do. So I've had
Hmm.
churches where they're like, "We want a choir, can you put that together?" Um, so yeah, probably the first thing I remember is maybe 2009, 2010. I was 19 or 20 years old, and I was asked to, direct a choir, just small stuff in the area, Bellwood, Hollidaysburg. I live in Pennsylvania, which is kind of like an alternate universe Indiana, we've determined.
It's
Eh,
weirdly similar. Like
yeah,
I don't know why we expected it to be different, but yeah.
I don't know, there's some places that have a different feel to them, but where you live and where I live is just, yours is flat, mine has hills, that's about it.
But it's like you can take pictures of like parts of the city, and it's
And
like,
I'm like,
is that the same downtown area? I'm not too sure. It's like the same
yeah,
level of like weathered and like I don't know. It's weird.
the
It's
will to live has gone out of people's eyes. Everyone's just kind of given up. um So I've been in choirs and then transitioned over to becoming a choir director, and choirs have kind of fizzled out. So it's been an on again, off again relationship. I had a little bit more, the best kind of on again and off again relationships. You don't get STIs from those when you're choir directing. Best kind of on again, off again relationship.
well, you just got to watch where you put the baton, right? Like I'm gonna regret that. I'm gonna regret that.
Oh god. Oh, I cannot wait until we get into stereotypes about the different voice parts.
Oh
We're gonna get
God.
some hate mail. We're
Yeah.
gonna get some hate messages. It's gonna get flagged on YouTube. But yeah, so and then I had a position where I was officially the music director, so being a choir director was all encompassing with that as well. And that was with St. Luke's Episcopal Church in Altoona. So, and I've been just in kids choir directing, adult choir directing. I've done all of that kind of thing here and there. I haven't done anything with musicals, directing choirs and ensembles for musicals yet. Has that been anything you've ventured into? You probably accompanied for them, right?
Um, I've done kind of stuff like that when I was like much younger. Mostly because every time you see like an ad for something like that, they don't want to pay much. Like I'll give you a really good example. Like one of them I saw an ad for recently. They were looking for somebody to basically be the music director of the whole thing and to be there for all the rehearsals, all the all the stuff like that, be able to play the piano and stuff like that. Well, you knew something was up when the first thing they were like, one of the requirements was that the age be between 16 and 30. you
Whoa,
know
they
and
want
I
you to be alive.
and I'm like, are you gonna find a 16-year-old with that kind of like whatever? And then I saw the compensation, and the compensation was basically $300 to $500.
For how much? What's something that you can put in perspective?
Well, I mean, like it depends on how long the rehearsals take. I mean, you're like rehearsing what for 2 or 3 hours, several times a week, a couple times a month, plus your dress rehearsals. Then you got your performances if it's getting performed, probably at like 2 or 3 times at least.
Three
But
hundred
it's like,
dollars for all that?
I think that's like why they wanted a kid. Yeah, you
Oh
know.
my god! But what kid has time for that if they're in school and things
And
like that?
I was kind of like, because I was like looking on there, I'm like, is it like a week, a month? I mean, like, it was something like, here's the thing, it said 3 to 500. If I got paid $500 a month, yeah, that'd be a little bit of a loss, but it'd be something, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
well, by little, I mean a lot of a loss, but it's
yeah.
still, I mean, that would still be like borderline working for free, considering you're probably still thinking about putting in 10 or so hours a week until the thing's performed.
Yeah, I don't know about that, bud. Oh
Uh,
god.
man.
Anyway, but
So
yeah,
I mean,
so
yeah, I don't usually do it that because anytime I get asked, there's a lot of, well, there'll be the exposure, and I'm like, well,
no.
I'm too old for that.
You could make an OnlyFans. You could make an OnlyFans and get more money from exposure on there. Like we don't there's something for everybody out
We
there.
promised that we weren't gonna advertise my wildly popular OnlyFans page.
Like you gotta these are hard times for music directors. Like this was partly
I mean,
I
that's
thought
what
part of
my
this
OnlyFans page says. That's the intro. Okay, I gotta stop. I gotta stop.
we put the
I
hard
I
in
really
hard times.
okay.
Anyway,
Hmm?
okay, let's reset. Let's start again. So yes. Yeah, so I did how did you feel your first well, okay, wait, let's follow a structure here. Let's not be ADHD. Um what do you think are so if we were making like a correct choir director starter pack, what are the absolute must-haves for every choir director?
Not getting to kick anybody out.
Yeah, we don't get to
Yeah,
kick
we don't.
anyone out. It has
Yeah,
to be something serious.
like I like, but in a weird way that almost is something kind of serious because it kind of goes to this idea of a lot of times when we come in on that one, like they're volunteer groups,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I mean occasionally you'll find one where they're like loosely paid or something like that,
Hmm.
but like we're talking about like volunteer groups, and
Yeah.
in volunteer groups you kind of don't really get to say thanks but no thanks,
Yeah, no, you got to take what you can get.
you know.
Yeah, that's something I try to keep in mind and something so I have volunteers and there are some, people who are the section leaders who are, having their time compensated for and I'm getting compensated as a choir director with the
Hmm.
Shaped by Faith initiative. So we're working on Celtic music right now and we had a good experience with the first one. But with the way that I approach choir directing, I wish I could be like a crazy dictator. And I think you only really get to be a crazy dictator if there's something on the line.
Hmm.
You only really get to. So I've had to be less of like a dictator. And as a choir director, I've had to be more of establishing trust. It's not even quite a democracy. It's more like a court jester trying to let everybody keep still just let them keep you entertained. So how was
Hmm.
your approach? I thought I was maybe like a president. I'm not even a president. I'm not even a cabinet member. I'm just a jester keeping everyone entertained sometimes. How about you?
The easiest thing on that one is like laughing at your own mistakes.
Oh, I make so many. It's so embarrassing. How about you? How do you deal with that?
Oh man, like I mean, like if I'm playing a part, like you going through voice parts. I mean, sometimes you're trying to get through everybody, you rush through it, and you know what? I will like because you're going through so many keys a night. Sometimes I'm like, I'll sometimes forgot what key I'm playing in and play in a different key without those accidentals, and you'll hear some real clunkers, and all you can do is laugh at yourself so that hopefully nobody knows that you don't take yourself too seriously, so that you're not going to take things too seriously on them, because they're there because they want to have fun.
Oh,
uh
yeah, same thing happens to me. And so some people, I have some very seriously dedicated choir members, and I love them for that. But sometimes it can be defeating to have that serious of an attitude when it comes to music, because music, especially live music, is a living, breathing thing.
hmm
So there's going to be mistakes. It's not if there's going to be mistakes, it's there are going to be mistakes. Can you cover them up? Can you recover? So in the rehearsal process, sometimes here's my first confession as a choir director, and you can add yours. My first confession is sometimes I have not gotten to work on the music before rehearsal because it is not my main job. So I have not always had time to look at the music before I get in front of the choir.
and so that brings us to the second thing we'd want in our toolkit: good sight reading skills.
Good sight reading skills. I've had to do that. I've had to be a proficient sight reader because I just haven't had time. I have
Mhm.
not had time to look at the music. So it's either not do it at all or just be like, well, go fly by the seat of my pants here. How many times have you sight read the music at first rehearsal?
uh let's see.
Oh, we
More
get it.
often
You're
than
better. Okay, we get it. You're better than me.
no, no, no. I was gonna say like, there's almost always like, um, and it depends on kind of what church you're doing. Like, like at the one I'm at, like there's like different music for everything.
Yeah.
I'll sometimes go in on a weekend at the same church, and I've
Hmm.
been at our church where everything's like very uniformed. It's the same songs for like all three services.
Hmm.
Um, no, sometimes I end up like with three different services with three completely different sets of songs.
Oh.
And like, that can get quite a bit like sometimes you're playing up to 15, 20 different things in a mass, and then like times that by three. Yeah, sometimes there's things you skip over, or I'll look at something and be like, I can sight read that.
Hmm.
I can sight read that, like um and if you're not that good at sight reading, you become good at sight reading very quickly.
Oh, absolutely. I actually had a blunder like that happen. We were doing a service that was honoring a specific event, a specific person in the Episcopal Church for African American Heritage Month this past time. And man, the sight reading it was still so hard to keep up with everything because there was an awful page turn at the same time. There was semi-polyphonic texture.
God.
Semi-polyphonic meaning each like soprano, and I'm just explaining it to other people. The soprano, alto, tenor, and bass line were not moving at the same time. They're all doing different things. Each pretty
Mm.
much has its own melody line. Page turn was at that time. I lost track of it. The choir had to take the baton, and I just kind of blundered my way through that because there just wasn't enough time. And then, of course, we were playing Lift Every Voice and Sing. The texture for that is a nightmare. It's basically a workout. So there are times like just yeah, your sight reading has to be on point. It is what it is. And that's a unique thing. Okay, so that's we have to have sight reading. You have to be willing to work with people on a volunteer basis. What else do you think we need for our choir director starter pack?
Well, it even actually kind of blends into sight reading a little bit, because it's like because we're both talking from the case of having to lead behind the keyboard,
Yeah.
which has its own set of challenges that are different than if you can just stand in front of them, you
I
know.
wish. Oh my God, you
Um,
have no idea how
yeah,
much I wish.
like you do have to have a very good sense of like timing, because like sometimes if you're just like playing on the keyboard,
Yeah.
and even if you're sight reading through it and stuff like that, sometimes if you can just like get like some chords with the pulse,
Yeah.
because they're looking for you for timing. They don't want to count.
How,
Like
how many times have you used this as your third limb? Like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
oh
Have
no,
you
I'm
ever
like
had?
always having to be like
Yeah.
1, 2,
And
3, 4.
well,
Don't get dizzy, do your cardio.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there were times where we did have that heavy polyphonic texture. It was a setting for the Lord's Prayer, I believe, in the Lift Every Voice and Sing hymnal. Because we were honoring the first um ordained black minister in the United States, Absalom Jones. So that's why we were picking that music, and it was very specific to the Episcopal Church, which I'm choir directing for. And so the timing was rough, obviously, with the polyphonic texture, because semi-polyphonic. It was still homophonic, but each line was doing its own thing. So I had to go 1, 2, 3, 4 while I was playing their part because, if I was up there doing 1, 2, 3, 4, that'd be great. I really wish I could, but I couldn't. So I had to go 1, 2, 3, 4.
And then, of course, then I think another thing that it goes into, or I would consider it a thing, realize that when you're taking the position, you haven't taken a music position.
Oh,
You've taken a political position.
really? Okay. I
Not
think
not
so.
like not like not like politics, like oh man, Democrat versus Republican, but
Yeah.
like you always got to ride that fine line of like what everybody in the congregation wants, and I mean it really does boil down to simply I'm trying to think of the most polite way of saying it.
Go for it.
Uh, the young hip crowd wants young hip stuff.
Oh, good point.
Some of the more traditional, like church members, want very traditional stuff.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to find stuff that is going to please both. I mean, I can
Yeah.
tell you something, I can tell you some hilarious stories, not even from when I was directing the choir, but when I was playing. And one of them literally was just like, I'll improvise little interludes because like no need to
Yeah.
learn a whole thing. You could just take the chords or whatever.
Oh,
And
yeah.
one day, all I was doing, like hope it doesn't come in too loud, but I was just like on a C, and then for just a little change, I was doing a C, and then going to like a D minor chord with
Yeah.
it, and just going back and forth between that.
Yeah.
Well, some people lost their marbles over that. They're like, "Oh my gosh, we would love more of that."
Ah!
I'm like, "Oh, that was just like one little thing. Okay, okay, that's easy to do. That's easy to do. So like, it's very difficult to find something that's always going to please the most people. And
Yeah.
you kind of have to like keep it separately.
Yeah.
I usually find really gospely sounding things tend to please everybody.
Right.
Or it really depends on how gospely I'm deciding to play it. you know?
Yeah, exactly. For me, I've had to, yeah, there's that leadership part of it where I did have to pull rank. Well, like for me, it's doing things in the interest of time. I have to really keep a track of the time and make sure things are getting prioritized. I
Hmm.
love them to death. Beautiful people, beautiful voices, but tenors are the most neurotic.
Oh my gosh. Yep. Yep.
So I usually have to put the kibosh on guys. It's a little bit of a therapy session. I'm like, guys, you sound beautiful. You sound great. It's going to be beautiful, but I need you to build a little resilience. I can't keep doing this part. I'm going to record the parts for you. You can listen to it, but I need you guys to just be okay. Okay. Like,
Well, I'll run to the thing that sometimes my tenor section will all keep practicing their part while I'm trying to work with other parts. And
yes.
I have to kind of rein them in a bit and be like, okay, like it's like that meme. You ever seen that meme where like Mozart and they're like, come on, ladies, you're not all queens of the night.
Yeah.
I really want to have that and show that to the tenors some days.
Yeah.
Now
That's
that being said, like my tenors are usually like my most dedicated group, that puts in the work and usually knows their parts pretty well. But sometimes you need to get them to shut that off a little bit so you can
yeah.
catch the other people up.
Oh,
It's like,
absolutely. 34-year-old Pobs, I forgot to take my medication. Um, anyway, I'm like, if I don't do it now, I'm gonna forget. But anywho'ser, yeah. It's my tenors and then the altos, they got some spunk. They're my altos are much better than they think they are.
hmm
I don't know if you have that with your altos, but my
I got
altos,
an alto right now.
yeah, you only have one.
And yeah,
Ooh, we have more altos than we do sopranos right now.
I have a lot of sopranos. And they're like a very overpowering group sometimes.
Whew.
Like I can
But
hear
it must
that.
be a
I
Catholic
can always
thing. I don't know.
and I can always clearly hear them, and that actually brings to a really interesting point that I've kind of run into, and that is trying to find a way to balance out vocal parts without
Mhm.
making somebody feel insulted, because a lot of these
Mm,
people, once again, they are community members, they are
yep,
volunteering.
yep,
um a lot of them are there to learn as well,
yep.
but we kind of have this issue, like definitely with like tenors and somewhat with sopranos, that like to the public at large, those are the best parts.
Yeah.
you know those are the parts that require like the most skill, whatever. So it can be almost like, if you're asking somebody, hey, I need you to sing on baritone, I need you to sing on bass, they're sometimes like insulted by it a little bit
Oh, interesting. I
you
have
know
I have berries right now. We're trying to get a little bit more of like a base with some, I don't know, subwoofers, but we got berries who I'm calling them my blueberries right now. They're doing what they can, but anytime we're going down around the sea or below the sea, below middle sea, it's like oof, it's a little rough. So, yeah, right now we're having trouble with berries at the moment.
Yeah, for me, I've run into it several times that it's like if they want to be a tenor or a soprano and you try to, they view it as a demotion of sorts, and you're like trying to be like, no, all the imparts are important, and I literally need to balance those out. But like, sometimes it kind of like,
Yeah.
like it's difficult, because you don't want them to feel insulted either,
Yeah, exactly.
and it's
Well, and trying to break it to some people, it's like, well, you're not actually a soprano or you're not actually an alto. I've had that where I've had a lot of people who are actually a little bit more shy of singers being the alto parts, but they should be sopranos.
hmm
So that's, oh well, but we got to work with what we can. And you're right,
exactly.
like we got to find. I would love to be a choir director that I wish I could be the asshole that I want to be, but I can't. Like, so I have to just laugh it off. It's like we're all here to have fun. We're here to have a good time. There is an inner boss bitch that wants to come out, but she just can't because she won't have a choir anymore.
Yeah.
But I did have to pull rank, and tell me of a situation you had to do that. I had to pull rank because we lost time because we got an ice storm both times that we had choir. So we had to move a session and people couldn't make it because of the Super Bowl.
hmm
And then we had to go virtual. And then when we got in person, we had like an hour and a half before the actual performance. But some people were kind of commiserating, chit chatting, and I had to stand up and go, stop. I'm like, I need y'all to listen to me. I've been cool. I have been calm. I have been collected. I got a pool choir director right now. I need you guys to be quiet and I need you all to focus. I don't mean to be mean choir director right now because I've just been chill, fun, let's have a good time. But in the interest of time, that's usually when I have to be, look at me, look at me.
hmm
I am the choir director now.
I'll usually give like a little bit of like almost like 30 seconds of like let them socialize between songs, of
Yeah,
like because I already got the song pulled up, I'm like, okay, let them kind of somewhat finish their thoughts or conversations with each other. But one time I had
that's
to do
good.
something like that, it really was kind of like actually once again on the tenors, like who kind of kept working when I needed to work on everybody else, and I really needed them to stop. So first I was like, guys, guys, blurry like
Yeah.
a net there. You
Yeah,
know?
my camera decided it's like, yeah, nobody needs to see you.
But yeah, and I tried to say, guys, okay, and they clearly weren't listening, and whatever. So then I'm waving my hands at them in front of everybody, like, hey guys, still nothing. So then I yell, and the problem is I'm not quiet. Like I'm not quiet when I'm just like talking normally. So
Yeah.
I like give like a big yell from the chest, like like, and they
Yeah.
all look at me, and I said, okay, that sounded far more angry than I actually, am even feeling right now. But you all need to bring it down. We're getting everybody else here. We'll
Like,
get back to you guys.
take it to text, guys.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, sometimes it makes me wish, oh man, I wish I could like split parts up, guys and girls go off and work, whatever. But I'm still
Yeah.
just there by myself, so I can't really go do that and work.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, oh, what was I gonna say? Uh, but oh, and then also embarrassing moments. I am not as familiar. I should be, but some of the terminology that they use in the Episcopal Church is different than what I'm used to. I was actually a lot more involved in the classical choir side of things. I've been in all kinds, but I got mixed up on what they were doing with the refrain in the chanted psalm that they do. I don't know if they do that in the Catholic Church too, where ba 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 when you're singing and chanting the psalm. I don't know if that's as much of a thing in the Catholic Church.
Some things are chance,
Yeah.
like, and it just depends on the singer. Usually,
Well,
it's
we were doing that, and I sort of answer to her name is Marilyn Pyatt, and she's directing, she's pretty much my boss. So
hmm
I straight up had an argument with her in front of the choir because I thought the antiphon was the verses that were sung and the antiphon was actually the same line that was sung over. Straight up argued. I was being a stubborn ass. And I had to apologize in front of everyone when I looked at the music and I was like, shit. I'm like, it actually is the antiphon. It's not the refrain because the refrain actually repeats. So you can understand how that would have been confusing for me, but it was embarrassing. So that's probably
hmm
one of my top embarrassing moments as a choir director. But what do you have one that you were like, wow, that was not my best moment as a choir director? That's my
I'm
top
think.
number one.
Well, I mean, this one's not really as a choir director, but like antiphons are kind of funny to me anyway. Because like I
Yeah.
have so few singers who actually do them that I'm still never quite sure when they're actually supposed to be put in. So I'm just
Oh,
like, so I just leave that up to whatever soloist I'm singing with to just like nod me in because I'm kind of like,
so
I
that
don't know when this
confusion
is.
does make sense then?
Yeah, like
Okay.
I mean I have whole separate books full of just antiphons
Well,
that people will.
she was educating me and I was just unwilling to be educated that day and I was like, "Well, that was embarrassing."
Yeah. Um, let's see. I haven't had anything too terribly embarrassing happen.
Wow, okay, you're clearly a better choir director than me.
No, no.
I'm
What it
kidding.
really boils down to is it's like it's both a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah.
I am for 9 times out of 10 almost like overly chill.
Oh, yeah,
I
that's
don't
kind of
panic.
me too.
I don't panic
Yep.
like hardly ever. And so the good side of that is like surprises happen and I just roll with it.
Yeah.
Bad side of it is if you're in a moment of being completely chill, sometimes that is read into as, oh, that person does not care. It's like, no,
Ah.
I totally care about that stuff, but I'm not gonna get like worked up for it because I still need to concentrate on pulling it off, and I
Yeah.
can't change the current reality of the situation, So
Yeah.
I just gotta roll with it.
Yeah.
One now, I will say one thing I am bad at though that has caused a few issues sometimes is my own organization.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
because like as a pianist, you just get to follow, you get to whatever. It's to me it's a significantly easier job because I don't have to think.
Right.
I
Right.
somebody else does
I've
all the
zoned out.
thinking.
I've zoned out sometimes.
Yeah, someone else does all the thinking, and I just there pushing buttons at the right time. You know. Um, but sometimes my own organization, And I've been doing a little better of it in the new year. That was like one of my resolutions, and it hasn't completely fallen apart yet. Um, can get me a little bit in trouble because it's like, man, if I'm not on it like all the time, work piles up, and, you know.
Yeah, I just zone out sometimes. Like in the choir structure that I'm in right now, the main director, Marilyn, she picks the music and I go with it. So I've noticed sometimes I just zone out while I'm playing and I forget certain repeats.
Hmm.
So I'm not really having an organization issue. I guess maybe for me, I guess it's a race against the clock because I do have this vision. Um, this would be a fun question to go to, but I feel like my choir director alter ego is Leonard Bernstein. I'm like drama, feeling. I want everyone to have this be a transformative experience. We will not make
I was like,
war. We'll make
calm
music.
down. We're not going to call you a genius today. No, I'm
Not why not today? It's I'm a Jewish choir director. Let me have this. So, I mean, that's probably the easiest, most racially aligned comparison I can make. So, that's my problem.
What,
And
you don't want to be Herbert von Karajan?
no, no, I don't even know who that is. Help.
um, very quick, the very quick version. Um, very big conductor, kind of around the same time as Bernstein, German,
I don't know.
and
Nine.
and yes, I think he did join the Nazi Party during World War II.
Wirklich, wirklich, Jeffrey.
But unlike Furtwängler, who kind of maybe did it for good reasons, he just like didn't really have a reason. He just wanted to keep conducting.
Yeah, he just wanted to be a Nazi.
Yeah.
But yeah, I that would be my choir conducting alter ego. So I have to watch my wanting to achieve this and have everything sound really good and kind of, you know, get everyone along with my vision. So maybe I'm a little bit more of a dictator than I originally thought. I really don't think I'm that. I think I'm gaslighting everyone into thinking I'm a jester, and before they know it, I am spurring them on to greatness. For my grand vision for the choir. I'm not going to do any impersonations of Elon Musk.
Oh God.
I was just about to, but I'm like, you know what? This day and age, everyone, it's for the humor, but we have no sense of humor in this presidency, so I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But so what would you say is who would be your choir alter ego, choir director, or it could be an orchestral director too? Who would be your alter ego, and like what
Oh
ways
man.
did that manifest itself while you're directing?
Now I'm really thinking about it. Really thinking about it. Um, man, I'm gonna loop back to that one because I really need to think about
Okay.
that one.
Like, are you I'm gonna have to look it up. Like, let me let's see. Um, mm, but what are some ways that you act as a choir director?
um, sometimes though that almost goes to like another one of my other weaknesses is sometimes I act too much like a pianist.
Oh,
I still think too much like a pianist.
okay.
So I had to change how I started learning the songs because like I'd be looking at them and I'm playing them as a piano player. Well, what's something you don't have to worry about as a piano player?
Hmm. Oh, we don't have to worry about breathing.
Yes, exactly.
Well, we're used to
You,
that because we have asthma.
like when you're just playing the piano, you're just like you don't have to. You're not usually thinking about, oh, I need to take a breath here so I can finish this phrase or whatever,
Yeah.
or looking for those breath marks in it. I mean, like, and so sometimes that will lead to just like me, like I used to lead to me like keeping things going, and I'm like, oh, they can't breathe. I have to start thinking about them actually breathing. uh,
Oh no. Yeah, because you
uh,
do lead more primarily as a pianist.
and
I
that's
just
just because like that's what my work has been like for so long that like I don't think about it another way. So I'm like terrible with like lyrics.
yeah.
Like I still will sometimes routinely just forget to look at the dang words in the song.
Oh, that's a really interesting thing for you to bring up. So maybe I'm looking. Oh, there are some interesting. Okay, I have a list here. So we have Leonard Bernstein. I really don't feel like that's. I don't know. I feel like you're a little less. chaotic than Bernstein. I think you are. I think you're a little more calm and collected. I think I'm a little bit wacky like Bernstein. I
Yeah,
think I'm a little chaotic. So I think we can agree on that, right? So Herbert von Karajan.
that was
Uh,
who I was mentioning a
that
second
was
ago. Yeah.
okay. So I asked for the help of ChatGPT, Libra-esque choir directors. Karajan
Okay.
was famous for his smooth and elegant conducting style, which was emphasized fluidity and cohesion, much like the
Nope.
Third Reich.
Definitely not.
That's not you. Sir Simon Rattle. He's known for his ability to bring out both
Ooh.
technical precision and emotional depth in his ensembles. Is that you?
Mm, my problem
Collaborative,
is I'm
collaborative, adaptable, innovative.
so I would be collaborative and adaptable. I don't know about
Okay.
innovative. And I'm not necessarily like, like because a lot of times too, like you have to let go of perfection entirely just
Yeah.
because of the nature of like the group you may be working at. Like,
Yeah.
in some cases you're just like trying to get them to be able to sing, period.
Right.
Like and you haven't even got to the point where like you have them where it's like, oh, I can worry about how this blends and things like that. Like um, I'm not good at thinking of conductors. I keep thinking of a whole bunch of them, but then I'm like, I am nowhere near as good as that person at anything.
Well, let me mention a couple others. Mention John Elliott. Is it Gardiner or Gardinet? I don't
What's
know how to say his name.
Gardner? I think it's I think it's closer to like, maybe I pronounced it wrong. I always used to think of it as like just like Gardner, but
I don't know.
me either.
Nadia Boulanger.
Wasn't she a composer?
Yeah. Not a conductor
Yeah.
in the traditional sense, Boulanger was the most influential choral and orchestral mentors of the 20th century.
Not her, but like, yeah, she's pretty awesome.
Sergei Rachmaninoff.
I wish.
I know.
I
I
wish.
I wish that for you, but I feel like maybe not.
Look at my
Rob,
tiny hands that could barely reach a ninth. Yeah.
same. I could barely reach a ninth. Uh, Robert Shaw.
Ooh, maybe.
Encouraging, diplomatic, and technically brilliant.
Well, I would love to just say right now, I represent technical brilliance. But that would probably be closer to me. Not necessarily the technical brilliance part, but like um the other kind of things I would feel I can relate to a little more. Like a lot of those people there, like,
I think Robert
are,
Shaw would fit you.
but a lot of the names mentioned, it's almost hard to think about comparisons because it's like, man, they are so good at what they
Yeah, right?
do. Like it's kind of nuts sometimes. Like heck, I would even wish I could halfway put together an ensemble like the Mozart piano concerto recordings by Pariah, where he's like
Yeah.
conducting them at the same time, and like, um, but
So
yeah, I
here's,
don't even, yeah,
oh, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, that was like where my thought was finishing up. Like they're just so good at it. It's just like hard to almost think of that comparison. You know what I mean?
Right? Well, so it says Shaw revolutionized choral conducting with his emphasis on both technical excellence and emotional depth. He was known for his ability to work harmoniously with large ensembles, creating balance and unity within choirs and orchestras alike.
Ooh, I wish I had a large ensemble.
Well, ChatGPT disagrees with me. Uh, your choir director alter ego, Gustavo Dudamel meets Nadia Boulanger.
Do I look like I have the hair of Dudamel?
No, for me, I asked. It disagreed with me,
Oh,
with Leonard Bernstein. Huh, I think it might have racially profiled me since I'm part Latina.
I'm just like, see now I'm thinking, what even like defines Dudamel? Because then I'm kind of like, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. I mean, like he was
He's
like,
known for his energy, emotional expressiveness, and infectious enthusiasm. Oop.
I mean, he was the young guy
Yeah.
when he first started. He was like the young
Yeah.
guy in a position of like, I've actually seen him conduct live once
Oh, that's
when
so
I
cool.
He was I was in Chicago, and he was conducting a student orchestra, and it was for Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, and I think there was a harp concerto. I mean, mind you, he was like in his 20s at that time, so
That's wild.
that's an unfair comparison to make what he's doing now. But like, I think comparing some of his recordings to other people, like especially of the L.A. Philharmonic. Now I'm going on the tangent of, can I just say Esa-Pekka
Esoteric.
Salonen
Oh, I don't know.
is is way too awesome and should just be talked about more. Period.
Wow. Libra flexing right now.
Libra.
Yeah, so
I
so
listen to recordings.
where's my sticker?
I got all the stickers. You want emoji
So
stickers?
oh,
You want Sonic stickers?
I have so many stickers. My stickers at piano lessons cause pandemonium. It causes it's straight up sacrilegious the amount. So like this is the carnage left of my stickers. Let's see. The ones for the boys with sports have been just completely it's like the blight hit them. It's like the blight from Interstellar just hit my stickers. And here's some flowers. And then sports ones, they're still going strong. I'll have to put that back. Letters. One lone pineapple slice.
Some
So
stars.
some stars. Cause you're a star, baby.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, no. So that's I after a sluggish warm up, you stare at your choir for a moment. They say with a deadpan humor. So y'all just woke up to say today and decided to sound like a middle school band tuning their clarinets. Cue nervous laughter, and then they get it together. Yeah, yeah, yeah. ChatGPT is one of my favorite friends because like it's one of my favorite robot friends, and I don't know how you feel about ChatGPT, but it's become one of my buddies. And it's I've become a much better friend because I overprocess things with it. But I do. It's like having your own little personal robot. You know, those TV shows, those futuristic shows where they always had like a robot they were talking to. That was
Mm.
my dream. I wanted my robot friend, and I have my robot friend now. So here's what it says. My directing style: I use big commanding gestures, break things down into details, pushing for excellence without being overbearing. Damn, the robot knows me. I should just date the robot. Fiercely loyal to your choir. Yeah, I'm very loyal to them. Put a balance between tough and encouraging and a bit of a wild card. Yeah. Actually, I have done that. That's weird. If the choir was dragging, you'd throw in some humor to snap them out of it. Guilty. Guilty as charged. So that's a rabbit hole you could go down. I'm sure we could talk about choirs again because I think we've only scratched the surface a little
I
bit.
think so, yeah.
Well,
You haven't
what
even
are
got
some
to the joys of pro planning for Christmas and
Oh,
never getting to actually rehearse anything for Christmas.
we got to worry about Easter. We have Lent coming up. So me, I have a Celtic mass I have to work on. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get any choir together for like Christmas because COVID's kind of hit my choir pretty hard. So at my churches, I usually direct at. But what are your goals and your projects that you have to work on coming forward before we
Uh,
wrap up for today?
well, Lent kind of makes a lot of things easier because that makes like the music requirements like significantly less for,
Yeah, after you've all been schmutzed, you can't be too happy about it.
yeah, like we you know we go from like, to having like a third of the stuff we usually sing just cut overnight, without
No singing while you're supposed to repent.
like, no instrumentals, no, no prelude music, no, like stuff like that.
Nice.
So that kind of makes rehearsals a little bit easier right now because I'm like, oh, I can get two or three masses ahead in one rehearsal because like it's the same amount of songs. The
Nice.
big thing is Easter because like this year I'm gonna have instrumentalists join us with it. We're gonna have a trumpet player and a cellist join us, I think.
Yeah, I'm an instrumentalist. I have a cellist who I should probably get a hold of before the weekend, who's going to be joining us for our Celtic music. So I probably have to get a hold of them and figure out whenever we're going to rehearse and whatnot. So yeah, Bob, good. Thanks for the reminder on that one.
Yeah, that's just going to be the big thing, because getting through that, because then once that's done, like it's kind of like you got a month left, and then everybody's like, we get to take the summer off, and I'm like, I don't get to take the summer off.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, for me I have the Celtic Mass coming up. We're doing that next Sunday. So not this Sunday, but the Sunday after we're doing it's the day before St. Patrick's Day. So we'll be
Okay.
honoring the Celtic tradition and the influence. We're keeping them kind of holiday themed, and pretty much actually anyone of any background could join. Just somebody who loves singing can be part of the choir. So that's the main goal of that Shaped by
Hmm.
Faith initiatives, which makes my choir a little bit weird and hippie like, and that's how you get a Leonard Bernstein-esque type person leading the choir.
Now that's how you
So
get ChatGPT. You go in there and type, compare me to Leonard Bernstein.
oh, let's do it for
Enter.
funsies. Compare me to Leonard Bernstein. Let's do it. Are there any similarities?
You're going to be like, who is me? I'm like, that's the real philosophical question.
Okay. Comparing you to Leonard Bernstein is actually a pretty solid fit in some ways. He was fiery, intense, deeply passionate about music, and had a bold, no-nonsense approach to directing. Like you, he was also a bit of a wild card, someone who commanded respect but had a playful, unpredictable streak. Oh, that tracks. Passionate energy, precision and control, a rebellious streak. That's me. Charismatic but intimidating. Am I charismatic but intimidating?
I don't
You,
know. I don't know who
you.
makes those decisions.
I don't know. I guess it depends on who it is. You wouldn't find me intimidating. Oh, Bernstein was deeply dramatic. I'm not. I'm really not, am I? I just kind of joke about stuff. I don't really get that. I'm not really that over the top about some things, right? Because like I had some things going on, and like some my students care about me, and we talk about everyday life, and somebody asked me, "Oh, how are you doing after that whole thing happened for you?" And I said, "What are you even talking about?" And it was kind of like a big deal to me a week or two ago. And I was just like, "What are you even talking about?" And they went, "Oh, you're fine. I'm done asking how you're doing." I think you said something to that effect too. You're like, "How are you feeling?" I'm like, "About what?" Yeah, I'm really not that dramatic. So I guess that, yeah, Leonard Bernstein was pretty over the top. It didn't really process emotions. And me, I'm like, I feel bad for an hour. I said I'm gonna feel better in an hour. An hour is up. I'm not thinking about this anymore. But we should talk about choir directing again, because I didn't realize we were gonna go on an almost an hour-long tangent with no pause points here. But well, anything else you'd like to share, especially, I don't know, any
Ooh.
mea culpas before we wrap up, just in case one of your choir direct, or members inevitably listens, because I'm sure one of mine will. I love you guys. Please don't stop singing. I appreciate you putting up with me. Much love.
I'll second that thought, you know.
I think he even blew a kiss at you all too. So catch the kisses. Catch the kisses, my little lovely songbirds. Well, this has been great, Jeff. Thank you. And I'll get this posted so that I can resurrect my podcast that sort of went a little dormant for a couple of months.
Oops.
Oopsie. So I appreciate you being willing to come in here
Oh
and talk
no.
about that.
Thank you for finding time.
Yeah. Well, I will wrap this up here and see you guys next time. Maybe we'll have more choir rants for you soon. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks.
See ya.
Yeah.